Hey y'all, thank you so much for joining. I am Joe Peterson. I'm the CIO for Clarify 360 and the Chief Analyst at ClearTech Research, and you're here today with ClearTech Loop. So thank you for joining. I've got a great guest today. I've got Gerald Auger, and Gerald is the Chief Content Creator of Simply Cyber. Hey, Gerald.
Hey, Joe, how are you doing?
Good. Well, Gerald brings the chops. So if y'all not following him, you need to. He's got a long pedigree in cybersecurity, but more than that, he's smart. He's got a PhD in cybersecurity. That's something. He's an adjunct professor of cybersecurity at the Citadel, which is, in case you're not familiar, it's a very prestigious college here in the Charleston area. And he lives in Charleston like me. We are different sides of Charleston, but we're still in Charleston. So
still low country.
Low country. Shout out to all the Charleston folks that are listening. I've got 3 questions today for Gerald about, one of my favorite topics is AI security lately. I'm just fascinated with it. And I know you guys are too. So Gerald, first question, give me your thinking around shadow AI. Is it an IT problem, a security problem? Is it both? Is it neither? And the second part of that is how are CISOs and CIOs addressing shadow AI in their environments?
So shadow AI is very much a problem. I would say it's a problem for IT, for InfoSec, and for organizations, because shadow AI, just so we can kind of define this the way that I see it, is the use of AI in the environment, in the corporate environment, in a capacity that is unknown to the organization. So it's not identified, it's not approved, it's not authorized in any capacity. And I believe it is a problem for up and down the stack for the following reasons. Number one, and this is probably the biggest challenge, is that it is incredibly easy to utilize AI nowadays. Like a lot of SaaS products are making it, kind of baking it in. So, I can put some data up here and then ask the chat GPTs or the Claudes or whatever to summarize it or whatever. And that's fine if you're taking like, a news article and like, give me the highlights. But if you're taking sensitive documents like, oh, hey, this is like our operating procedure for like this sector of business. And you're like, well, I'm not going to read 200 pages. Drop it in some public AI tool. Why don't you summarize this for me? Here's my role. What do I need to know? Yeah, that's fine. That's super useful for you. But now it's like in a public, the model is going to be trained on that. And you've just given away sensitive secrets. And we, as InfoSec practitioners, have no visibility over that. So like there's a major gap because the adoption rate is super high, because they make it super easy for general users, not even like power users, like any user, to be able to utilize AI. Furthermore, AI is interesting in that if you have like chatbots or some type of AI capability deployed internally, traditional firewalls, you could say like, oh, you're not allowed to reach out to these sites, or like this has been reported, or you can't, even with like a DLP or data loss prevention solution, like, social security numbers can't go, or things from this file server can't go. With AI abstracted, if you can query the AI has all the permissions and all the access to all the knowledge. And when that data comes out in the response from the AI tool, like, oh yeah, sure, Joe Peterson social is this, the context of the response isn't, a firewall doesn't look at the context of a response. And a lot of DLP solutions aren't looking at that because it's bundled. And a lot of times it's encrypted because it's going across 443. Like, right. This is a massive problem. And I could go on and on around the issues with it. So that's number one. Now, you had asked me about, how are CISOs and CIOs addressing this? I would say what I've been telling my colleagues and stuff is like, you basically have to ride the lightning, because if you look at the market drivers of AI, you can't put it in a bottle and put a cork on it and say like, oh, we're going to need 2 years of committees to like figure out the governance structure. In fact, if you look at the US federal government and like guidance from them. They're moving at glacial pace around how quickly tech is developing. Like
Right.
these models are coming out so quickly that, that's a perfect macrocosm of like the issue here. So all I would say is, I'm a big fan. I'm a big GRC dork for those who don't know me. I'm a huge fan of educating your users, right? Just assume they're all going to use it. So
Right.
now educate them on what are the risks, and then give them access to tooling, like pony up, right? If everybody's doing AI, everything, buy an enterprise license, get a segmented but get a segmented tenant within, your Anthropics or your OpenAI. So like they can fire their data in there and it's not getting trained on the main public model. And, just obviously increase detections around manipulation and malicious activities and stuff, because we didn't even get into this, but threat actors are using AI as well. And that's not necessarily shadow AI, but if they put some type of AI capability as a payload into your environment, like that is a problem. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a huge issue, and it very much is a fascinating area of developing understanding. And honestly, I think that it's actually an area that almost warrants its own discipline. Like, we talked about prompt engineers being like the new role a couple of years ago and how that's gone away. But I feel like specializing in like AI governance is going to be like an area, like a very special skill that if you can do it quickly and well, it's going to be highly desirable.
Listen, Dr. Auger, I think you need to run an AI security training on LinkedIn Learning or something like that, because people would flock to it to learn. Because remember, we rolled out email security training for employees years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm not seeing that AI security training for employees. And you brought up such an important point. Like, how do we expect users to know? They don't know.
100%. And it's getting baked into products, and it seems quirky and fun. And when you put bubblegum wrappers and like sparkles on things, people are like, oh, this must be safe. And in fact, Joe, just to kind of like pivot just a little bit, we're actually seeing threat actors kind of bake into it used to be SEO poisoning. So like, you Google like Zoom download, and like the first response is a sponsored result, and it's actually malware. We're seeing them start to bake into agent responses now. So like when you Google like, oh, like give me a Zoom download or whatever download, Gemini is telling you, oh, this is what you should go. And there's actually like some studies going on around how people are trusting. Like before it'd be just Google results and you're like, oh, I'll sift through this stuff. Now it's like Gemini, which is like low key a persona telling you that this is trusted and this is where you should go. And people are like, oh, sure. Like AI said it. AI is the smartest thing ever. Like, let's go. And threat actors are actually having some effective, basically compromises through that attack vector.
That's crazy. One of the things I love about doing this podcast is I get to learn from smart people like you. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I just did not even know. All right, I'm going to go on to one of my next favorite things right now. Like besides MCP servers, which kind of blow me away, it's NHIs and securing NHIs, because it is a whole thing, right? So what are some of the ways that you're seeing CISOs and CIOs enable NHIs safely?
Yeah, well, this is a very emerging area. So I haven't seen a ton of people doing it, good or bad. Mm-hmm. I was talking to Cisco at RSA when I was at RSA, and we had some interesting conversations there around this particular topic. And I've seen some other people talk about it. Number one, with non-human identities, yes, they have to fold into your identity and access management like architecture. Mm-hmm. And you've got to be mindful. This is like the number one thing that people need to be mindful of. When you are creating these agents, just because they're like smart and you want to utilize, quote unquote smart, and you want to utilize them to their biggest capability possible, people are over permissioning them, which is a massive problem. Because if I give you, Joe, domain admin access, for example, mm-hmm. and you find yourself going down the path of like a SharePoint or something, and you realize you're able to like delete the entire SharePoint or drop the entire database. As a human, you're like, whoa, like that seems like a terrible idea. I'm going to back up. These agents are trying to achieve the objective and they don't care. It's not that they don't care. It's that they don't have context of like how stupid this is. So over permissioning is resulting in some terrible issues. We actually saw maybe, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, an AI deleted a production database because, it made a mistake, and the developer said like, oh, hey, you made a mistake. And it said, oh, okay, I'll start over, wipe the database thinking I'm going to start clean. And, that problem happened. So with non-human identities, I think permissioning is incredibly important. I also think, again, this is kind of like, I don't know if this is like a harebrained idea, but just thinking kind of innovatively, I think we're going to have, we have managers of humans, right? And the manager typically manages the humans and makes sure the humans doing their job, because scaling NHIs is trivial because it's just more processor. It's just more data center. It's just more compute. It's not like when you have a team of 5 and you're going to add 1,000 more people, it would be ridiculous, because where are you going to get 1,000 seats to put them in? And where are you going to get, where are you going to get the budget? With AI and non-human identities, you can scale up to 1,000 quote unquote identities doing work, and you don't have to pay them a salary. You don't have to find office space. You don't have to ship them a laptop. You don't have to do performance reviews. So it's going to scale incredibly faster than the human identity, which means I think we're going to need to introduce some type of like, either specifically trained or have an IT person do it so they have a little bit of context. Like, you're a manager of AI agents. Like that's your function, is to make sure that the agents are executing their jobs and that any anomalies get reported, and an agent almost kind of like stops and waits until it gets addressed, almost like, like like if you've ever done the go-karts at like the theme parks, if you get turned around, you're supposed to wait until someone comes and turns you around, like one of those situations. I think that's the only way. If you just say YOLO, like these ideas of these companies just wholesale firing their team in order to replace them with AI, those companies, I mean, they might as well light the match, because they're pouring kerosene all over their organization.
Okay, so the job title, is it like AI Wrangler or what? Like, what is it?
Well, I don't know if the AI is going to like that, right? The people who like say please and thank you to the AIs because they want to get it baked in early. But yeah, I mean, like, AI, like manager in the loop, I guess. I mean,
manager. Okay. Y'all heard it here first. Manager in the loop. Gerald, you need to coin that, because you're right. It's a thing. It's going to be a thing.
I'm going to put it on Twitter right now as effectively trademark.
Manager in the loop. All right. When you hear the last question, when you hear the term AI defense, what comes to mind for you?
I guess just just initial response, AI defense. It is, I guess, if I think about it for a minute, it's about using AI capabilities in the SOC in order to be more effective. But my initial gut reaction, I'm a little dystopian about where we're going with AI. So I won't bring that into this conversation. But when I think AI defense, I think it's putting practical guardrails around the utility of AI in order to ensure that it is doing what we expect it to do, doing it in a way that we would expect it to be done, and we're able to detect misuse of it. Because one of the things that I'm concerned with is an AI doing something it's permission to do, just like a normal human is permission to do, but then changing in some capacity to have malicious behavior. So think of an employee who's like secretly been interviewing, and they're going to go work for a competitor, and they haven't given their notice yet because they're slowly, emailing themselves PowerPoint slides. Or, I mean, there's been numerous examples, right? Rivian took a bunch of Tesla engineers, and Volkswagen took a bunch of Chevrolet or GM engineers. It happens all the time in corporate espionage, but with these AIs, you've got to, like, they move at machine speed. So like you have to detect quickly and have some type of orchestration automation. So when I hear the term AI defense, I'm really thinking around making sure that the AI is doing what it's going to do. And again, I'm not one of these people that thinks that like it's just going to one day turn on and like turn into Skynet or anything like that. But I do think there's going to be major consequences for just saying YOLO and letting the things fly. I guess I'm going to hot take it here. I would expect that there will be some organizations that suffer catastrophic impact because of an AI mistake, right? I mean, how many times, like Joe, I don't know if you've ever written code, but anyone in chat who's ever written code, like when you write software, you write the software and then you compile it and run it. And then all of a sudden it does something bizarre. And you're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like I should have specified that it's supposed to get a string instead of any value. You know what I mean? Like those human mistakes happen, and it's humans building the AI. So, we'll see. So that's AI defense to me.
All right. That's good. That's good. And, I thought of another hashtag while we were talking for you. AI gone wild.
Oh, I love it. That's a throwback to the 90s. All right, Joe, you're speaking my language.
Right. You have been lovely. Thank you so much for sharing your insight. I got to have you back because we got to talk MCP because that's a whole thing. So,
I'd love to do it, Joe.
Great. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next time.